Late Night Dominion.
Watch it.
Wildstar. Late Night Dominion.
Watch it.
Wildstar.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Late Night Dominion. Thanks for joining us tonight. As usual, I'm your host, producer, and general troublemaker, Aegon. And taking it away tonight is Beetle.
Welcome to Late Night Dominion. We're here with your host, Aegon the Ginger Techno Mage, Musclebound Backspace, and Nixus the Talking Mime. I'm Beetle, the I'm terrible at British accents. Hey guys. Orochi couldn't join us tonight, so I tried to fill it in. I'm sorry, I can't. Tonight's show, Zap, I'm sorry. Tonight's show may be a little rough. I'm still recovering from being dead with a terrible cold, so you may hear me cough. I'll try to move away. Nixus and Blank are super tired, and Aegon's got red hair. So, we're going to move on. Blank is going to hit us with the show synopsis here. Blank?
As always, we're going to, we've gone around the best we could, collected up all the information that is all over the internet dealing with Wildstar. So we're going to hit you with that in the weekly news here in a second. As you can see, we let Nixus out of the corner. So tonight it's going to be chicken juice. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, make sure to throw them into the chat. And be careful, don't type in all caps or upset Nightbot because he will spank your bottom. Make sure to follow this Twitch channel. Follow us all on Twitter. Most of you who are here already know who we are. There's also the main organizational one, which is SVG Wildstar. And like us on Facebook. I don't even know what goes on in our Facebook. So nonetheless, let's rock into our weekly news. Oh, goodness. Wildstar Wednesday was about the stress test post-mortem. You're going to get a link of that over on the chat. There was a town hall organized for both the U.S., Southeast Asia, and Australia time zones. Put up for Europe. They were moderated by community members. They were organized by SVG, and this was done through Twitter and Wildstar Central. If you missed it, there was, right before Wildstar Wednesday, there was a long article put up from Durham, which is the senior systems designer, about Wildstar's economic game. There were a lot of really cool things. We're not going to discuss it in depth. However, one of the cool things that we saw or we pulled out of that article was they had different ways to spend money, and one of them was being able to pay to res in place. So you might, decide, I've got lots of bling bling, I've been grinding, I don't feel like walking back this time, I'm just going to pay to res in place. Cool little side note that we put there. You will get the link over in chat. And there was a Polycount article featuring Matt Mocarski, who is the creative director. We've had him here on Late Night Dominion. He's a great guy. It was very technical, and it was in-depth for those who wanted for the. I definitely recommend giving it a read over. There was a very interesting, and it should be the one you're seeing right now, screenshot of a guy with a rifle. So we're going to take some thoughts and speculation on what this guy's doing here over here in chat throughout the show. And in other Wildstar Weekly news, just came out. It was literally on Twitter as we were doing our pre-production. I'm sorry, guys. Don't come yell at me. Scowling Cassian had a interview with Jeff Kurtenacker, and there was a whole bunch of stuff in there about the music, and my favorite part of the whole thing, I didn't get a lot of time to check it out, I apologize, was Chemical Cutthroat of Wildstar Roleplay has made some fantastic themed drinks for the community, and some of them have included the Scowling, I'm just going to keep saying that wrong all night, Scowling Cassian, the Psyblade, the Logic Bomb, and what we want to tell you is you're coming on the show. Like, if you don't know it, now you do. You're going to come on. We're going to make some of these drinks. It's going to be a good time. So If you guys didn't see that on Twitter, there's going to be a link here for you guys to go check out. It was really cool. There it is. So we're going to move on into the topics for the show. Wildstar Wednesday, it was about the stress test. Again, we really try to take the information that's out there and really dig on into it. So some of the things that we saw that were of note was that the starter zones are to be instanced around 20 people with a cap per instance. Somehow that broke during stress testing. Now, my question is, Beetle's really the guy to, answer what that might signify. But to me, I'm like, okay, it was an instance, too many people got put in, so it's exactly what they said they wanted to do. They wanted to take, a bunch of clowns in a clown car and see what broke, and it sounds like it happened. So, Beetle, what does this say to us for those who aren't as technically savvy about a game design?
I don't know for certain because I'm, of course, not on their QA team or anything that I've seen, but from what I can tell, specifically with like the starter zone and one of them hitting 400 is somewhere where it replicates their instances. There was probably, if they would have had more instances of this area, there would probably be more than one of these instances that hit 400. It was somewhere that was replicating it that all of a sudden it just was like, and this one's gonna have this many, and this one's gonna have like. But I'd like to quickly talk about the 20 person per instance because. There's a quote somewhere saying that they wanted to make that area more like personable area, and that's cool to me because you don't want to. There's a lot of games that you get into and you get to the starting area and it's just people everywhere. Like you spawn and you get like that weird thing going on where there's like 6 people within you. You're like, brr, and you're like, it's just the whole cluster F, and I think that's a good idea if the instances work correctly in the future. That it just makes that whole starting area just a better gameplay area.
It definitely feels to me that instead of there being the 6 people on top of each other, that it's a little bit more intimate. And there's Beetle coughing. So we're all falling apart here, guys and girls. So just hold on. But I like that. I like that it's not. I remember the big when Burning Crusade first came out. And I was just like, yay, I'm the first here, hooray, and then it died. And it was just these huge amounts of people going to the same thing. Having those be instants is really cool. Aegon, how about you? What do you have to say about this?
I'm actually, for starter zones, I am totally up for it because the rush you see at the beginning of the game just is a killer. When people don't have the chance to actually take their time and explore the starting zone because you're rushing to get to those mobs that 30 million people are fighting over. This will help alleviate the problems. Hopefully they will throw out those instances as you start getting into zones. I don't know how far into your starting they're going to take this. There's going to be 1 zone in, 2 zone ins. Hopefully it's just the first zone, enough to let people get started, learn the world, not be overcrowded, make a couple friends because you're hanging out with some of the same people all the time while you're playing, and then bring you out to the open world where everyone is.
Yeah. Aegon, turn yourself up, for the record.
Sorry, I'll turn my gain up.
With your mic. People are saying you're a little...
How's that? Better?
Oh, I bet it's so much better.
Is this better? Is this good now?
I turned up the gain.
Hey guys, shut up.
Shut up, man. Shut up.
The next point that we had was that the gateway machine was way underperforming. I don't understand what that meant. Again, the technical, so I'm hoping Beetle may be able to describe that. But it shows one thing to me again. It reiterates the fact that they really did get a stress test out of this. Like, they brought in people to test it, and they thought they were good here across some board, and that all of a sudden one thing got critically nuked. So Aegon says you might have understanding what this is. Aegon, can you explain that to us a little?
Well, basically, their gateway is their entire network interface from us to their servers. So basically, they only had 10 megabits coming in, which severely limited their traffic to their servers, which severely put a crunch on how many people could be going in playing the game and getting information at one time, and that was way underperforming for the bandwidth they needed. They should have been getting more like 10, gigs If they're good, they should have a gig coming in at least.
All right. How about you, Beetle?
Yeah, the thing with the gateway server, it's the true definition of a bottleneck. They were trying to send so much information out, and it was getting caught at this 10 MB, and it just everything that we wanted was just not there. It was just dying. I assume there was fires and all sorts of good stuff. I'm sure. Who was it? Craig, the live team guy.
All you gotta do is look at Craig's slow descent into madness.
Yeah, we'll get that posted up, that link right there. It took about 2 minutes to crash the servers. What was really funny was if you noticed, while this was happening, they were very informative. They were talking to people on Twitter. They were posting up silly things. So they understood that, we're doing this thing. People are going to want to know what's happening. And so I felt like I didn't see like a whole lot of leaks about the stress test or a lot of negative things. I felt like that kind of came as part of their, hey, we're being silly. This is what we said we're going to do. And they were really proactive about talking to the community while it was happening. I also wanted to thank the next little note we had here is the community handled the stress test with respect. We're very, very big here about not breaking NDA. We don't participate in websites that allow NDA breaking material on them. And that was a really big deal. And I felt, it was nice to see that they let in however many more people and that there wasn't like big Twitter updates and all like the minimal amount. So it was really, really nice to see that the community handled it with respect. Aegon, do you have something to add on that?
It's more than just the whole NDA thing. They basically kind of mentioned that the community came in expecting a beta test, expecting a stress test, not expecting to play the game. There was no bitching and moaning that they couldn't play. There was no screaming to fix the servers. They did what they were supposed to do, came in, and left.
Yeah, it was definitely very nice. I'm part of the team got together. They called it a war room, where they got the community, the customer service, and some live team people together. And even though they have server or was it offices in 3 different places in the world, they were able to communicate effectively between them. So we thought that was pretty cool. Do you guys have anything else to add about the stress test Wildstar Wednesday before we move on?
No, that's all I got.
If we when we do move on, should we let the mime talk? Because the next thing's kind of what he likes, talking stuff. Mime.
This is all Mr. Mime's wheelhouse right here.
I mean, what I will say about this Wildstar Wednesday is, when they did the update, I saw a lot of tweets, I saw a lot of statuses on Wildstar Central, a lot of people saying they weren't happy with, what they were getting that Wildstar Wednesday. The one comment I want to make on that is that Carbine is amazing because they give us information every week. We're not left in the dark. Like, anytime there's something going on, where, and if it's not, within the 10 minutes, it's within the first 30 minutes. It's like, they don't leave us in the dark. They're completely transparent with what they do, which is, quick shout out to Carbine for what they do because I really love it. So, all you haters out there, we're getting a lot from them.
Yeah, it's true. It's more information than I've seen. It was a discussion during one of the town halls, which is a segue here, where somebody was giving props to Carbine and saying, it's nice to have that relationship that we have with them. The only other developers that tried anything like that, and I mentioned it, was with PlanetSide. With PlanetSide, they'd stop by in your stream, or they encourage the community to be a big part of the game. But this is some next level shit. I mean, these guys they have a weekly, hey, here's something interesting, and it's not just always hype. It's not always like we're trying to get people excited about the game. Sometimes and that's what people get pissed off about. They're like, this was just lore. But it could be nothing, dude. You could wait another 3 weeks until they gave another big hype thing, but it's part of their, I want to say part of their strategy, where they're like, you know what, we're going to continue to put stuff out there that's interesting and develops the game more than just, okay, it's only hype related, so we can only do it every 3 weeks or so. I love it. I think we're going to move along now to For those of you in chat, hopefully you can help carry us here, because me and Nixus started writing down these talking points, and we literally couldn't remember much because we both need a nap. So if you were there or you watched them, feel free to throw them up. I'm actually going to be actively watching the chat here. So if you guys remember anything that was an important town hall talking point, please hook us up. One of the first ones I wrote down was that nobody
Dragons.
wants shut your mouth. Nobody wants a real money auction house. Nobody. So Carbine, no thank you. We're not interested. Crafting for XP was highly discouraged. It is the most recent one was in Guild Wars 2, and nobody liked having crafting be that way. They wanted it to be important to the crafter, to be a part of going to raids, and there was a lot of discussion. But crafting for XP, no one was interested. Real Money Auction House, Beetle wanted to mention something real quick.
Well, the thing was, like, when you brought it up and I was on the... Excuse me. I had to move my cough drop. It was messing up my talking. First world problems. When I was sitting on the stream for the town hall, and when you were like, I'm gonna bring up a real money auction house. Diablo 3's real money auction house, nobody really even wanted that. Besides, like, the 4 guys that made $2,000 on it. It's like, it's just a bad thing. It's a video game. Shame on you, Blank.
But listen, it's always good to ask, because real money auction houses, are a different economy, and sometimes you make your money back for a game that you stop playing again. So I just wanted to throw it out there.
I've never seen a Twitch chat room on a stream unanimously decide on something so fast. Like, you're just like, real money auction, and everybody's just like, no, enter. Like, it happened so fast, and then, like, Nightbot was just like, caps, you put in caps, you're deleted. Nixus, was that your yes sign? Because if it was your yes sign, I'm going to say, stop it.
I'm not
Nixus
that
would like to talk. Alright, Nixus would like to talk about crafting for XP and about it being highly discouraged. Nixus.
Yeah, basically, what I want to make a point of is, as a concept, I'm not completely against that. I'm not supporting it. However, I will say, the idea of rewarding someone who purely looks to, get in a game and craft, and that's all they really have interest in, them being able to progress their actual character through the profession itself, as a concept, to me, is good. The problem is people abuse it, and, they're always looking for the most efficient ways to, hit level cap or just abuse the system. So what they're going to do is exactly what we saw in previous games, that really recently released, and they're going to farm up all these mats, throw them on one person, and be like, have at it. And that person's going to, completely fly out of what it was even imagined as, the speed people would level through it. So as a concept, I like it. Implemented in actual games, doesn't work.
Before we go on to the last one I had, Zap Robo from Wildstar Central, big one about community involvement. The communities that are out there, they need to know what guilds and fans want from their fan sites. Wildstar Central wants to know what sort of integration you're looking for. Wildstar Roleplay wanted to let everyone know that even if you're not a role player, if you're interested in checking it out or messing around the forums or just want to have someone make a drink for you, that they're there, they're a welcoming community, come check them out. I know that Warplots mentioned that they had a lot of projects for the future too, and we're looking for more people. Right now, there are so many, and especially if you are like us here, we sit here and we watch not just Twitter, but anytime anything shows up Wildstar related, it's a new fan site, it's a new domain, we're looking into who it is, who's putting it out there. We want to know, we want to be a part of those things, and a part of that is knowing who out there also wants to be a part of them, and then go out there and be like, hey, I'm interested in doing this, how can I help? we also had a mention from Gray here. Oh, no, sorry. Go ahead, Vito. What were you going to say about the community involvement? I'm sorry.
It's just a quick thing more towards like fan sites that are more specific. We'll say like war plots and stuff. Just looking for stuff that they, what we want to see in guilds, and war plots have said like we're gonna have some stuff down the line. That's one of those sites that Wildstar Central, they have the general forums, they have everything there. Like those more specific sites, I'm really excited to see, and I don't know if Sarah or anybody from Warplots is here, but I'm really excited to see the type of, content they could drive with this game and with Warplots in specific, and just see how cool a fan site like that could become. Sorry, now you can go ahead.
Sorry, I was trying to find that question that you put on the document.
No, that's fine.
Communal crafting, and crafting as it related to raiding gear. That's right. Thanks, Gray. Communal crafting was kind of an issue that we talked about, and I don't remember there being a big sway one way or the other. I know that I personally didn't like the idea of a communal craft being necessary, but what it was I'm a weaponsmith and you're a armor smith or whatever. We'd have to all get together to make some sort of item, and it was, I believe Andres may have also been talking about having to need other people to make these really cool items. I personally said having little groups of minions sitting around crafting things for my guild would feel awkward, and that I didn't really like it, but I didn't have any real objective data or an opinion on it. And yeah, there's Andres talking about communal crafting for large items. I believe that one of the things that was mentioned, like making a speeder bike or making something, that a bunch of people got together to make that you could sell or for whatever. So it was an interesting thing to throw out there. When it came to crafting as related to raiding gear, we discussed a lot of different topics, and some of them were like, how do you, the different tiers and having items that drop. If you go into a heroic or a hard mode adventure, whatever, a dungeon, it drops items. Do they stay bind on pickup? Do they stay bind on equip? Should we throw them into the economy? So there was a lot of things to discuss there. So before we get too much more into that, Beetle, communal crafting for raiding, what are your thoughts?
A little further in the show, we're going to get into some of the IRC tidbits we've taken out, but this is a perfect time to bring one of them up from Gortek. And he was talking with some of the guys in IRC about raid tiers and things having to do with that. And one of his things was that crafted gear will require materials from raid tiers in order to make crafted gear from those. So that's one thing that they're going to require some stuff like that. But and the one thing, I'll go back to the community and communal crafting. There's a lot of great community members so far that have come forward and are really, really passionate about crafting. Like me, it's not my whole thing. Like I love a good crafting system. Yeah, it's going to be awesome. But if you put like a couple of these guys like Gray, Onrez, Papa in the same room and just let them talk about crafting, it'd be one of the craziest things to ever just spew out into just society. It'd probably cause a small explosion. But I love how much they love crafting and how passionate they are about it. Nixus, what do you?
When I was thinking about communal crafting, something that could always be fun if we're looking to really expand on this would be like having, let's say settlers, for example, in a raid, they're going to provide the table, and some other profession or whatever path or whatever it may be comes and provides the meat and potatoes, and somebody else provides the tablecloth or whatever it may be, the pieces that you need, and it comes from different paths or professions, whatever it may be. And let's say the settler puts the table down, everybody else right clicks on it, it kind of charges up, and eventually you get, your buff table. And the entire raid can benefit from it. That's the way you could go about communal crafting. So there's that, and also a fun take maybe on crafting like legendary weapons or whatever they decide to do was have it go through different filtering processes where you get the initial item from like a boss drop, and then you give it to X profession that has to, like refine the ore that you got, and then you have to give it to another profession to make the hilt of the sword, and you keep having to go to different. So it kind of adds a social aspect to crafting that weapon. I mean, it would make it complicated. A lot of people would complain about it, but I think it could be fun.
Yeah. People
hate that idea. I hate that idea. I hate that idea.
Oh, I bet you do. I don't care why. I don't care why, actually, so, no, go ahead. Why do you hate it? Because you have to talk to people? And you can't rely on yourself?
No.
We're getting a little bit of feedback from who you want to move.
No. Okay, what I don't like about that is in that analogy, if I'm going into a raid, I like my crafting systems to be set a certain way. So if I have to be a weaponsmith to make my weapon, and I have to collect these special drops that drop, once per boss, or it's a rare drop, I want to make it. I don't want to have to give it to somebody else, unless it's part of like the lore, like it was in Ice Crown. Ice Crown, like you had to do these things, you had to do these hard modes. That was just part of the experience, but you didn't have to be a weapon crafter. You didn't have to be, you know what I mean? It was just an integral part of the raid and the story. If I'm gonna be an armor smith because I want to make badass armor of 9,000 crits or whatever, I want to make it myself, unless it's part of the story of why I'm there. So making the hammer in Serpentine Cavern, I had to go and learn weaponsmithing. I did it myself. It was a pain in the ass. I had to use my own DKP to get those materials to make it. That's cool. But if I have to then gather that and then give it to somebody else who has to do something else, it just takes away from what a crafter should be to me. Even though it's like the cool community idea of a guild getting together, it takes away from what it means to be a crafter just individually to me. It overemphasizes the community over the crafter themselves. That's just my opinion.
Ideally, if I were to do that, it would be for like specific items that are extremely rare, so that it wouldn't be like an everyday item. But I mean, I understand where you're coming.
Yeah, we got some speaker feedback test. Ooh, never mind, it's gone now. We fixed. No, we got it. Don't even worry about it. What if you combine both of your guys' ideas and it's like, hey, Nixus likes to talk to other people, blank lives in a little hole, and what if there were certain items in the game, like this awesome, let's not call it a weapon, a piece of armor, a shield, let's call it like some sort of totem, an heirloom, an amulet, and what if there was like a certain tier of items that required crafting in different phases through different professions, I guess you could call it, and then when it comes back to you got the Sword of a Thousand Truths amulet. I just went back on. I didn't say fish cannon.
Fish cannon.
Better.
But I don't know, just an idea, just to maybe you pass around a dragon egg, and you have to at one point the armor gives them better scale plating. The person who makes clothes gives them YOLO sunglasses, and then the person who makes weapons gives them some sort of claws, and then you get them back and you hatch this awesome dragon, and it just comes flying out. It's the best
So
thing.
essentially, at the end of the day, you're swagging on a dragon.
At the end of the day, you want to be swagging on a dragon. Is what's happening here.
Stop!
Oh my
Hey,
God.
What?
Go!
Oh my
Stop.
God!
Aegon,
Where
go.
was that even going? I don't. For me,
Crafting. Communal crafting. Duh.
For me, I mean, it depends on what you're doing. I always think like armor, creating your armors and your weapons should be a very personalized thing, and you don't have to rely on other people to actually build it for you. Community-wise, though, things like if it was implemented, actually building your guild house with the rest of your guild, things like that, as a community thing. That's the kind of thing I would look for in community crafting. But building my Uber armor of over 9,000, I'd rather do that myself, because I know I can do it. I don't have to wait for anybody else to get it done, and be mine when it's done.
Right. Yeah, so you're kind of saying the same thing, like people coming together for certain types of items. Like, what if you had to bring a certain amount of iron to your guild hall and had to build walls with that, and that's only one person's thing they can collect? And yeah, I think certain types of items being able to communal craft would be cool. I'm not going crazy. I just went on a tangent about dragons.
Just a tad crazy.
Fucking.
I do agree that communal crafting is interesting. I just don't want to be forced into it. I don't mind if a game forces me to become a weaponsmith to get like the best in slot weapon. I don't mind that because as a hardcore raider you have to make decisions. Same for PvP on what you get first, things like that. That's fine. I just don't want it to feel like, to get this super cool thing, I got to communally craft with a bunch of people, because I'll do it, but I just don't like things where. I guess actually I've never really thought about it. I'm taking that back, because if it's the baddest ass best in slot, I really don't give a shit, to be honest. So if they forced me to communally craft, it really wouldn't bother me. I just don't like it. So it really is subjective. Jesus Christ, I'm done talking. Let's go to the next part.
No, you're doing fine. What are you talking about? All right.
At least I've been going to YOLO Dragons. We're gonna get into a fun little topic here, and we're gonna be actively watching the chat. I'm pretty sure. Oh goodness, yeah. We're gonna watch the chat here for a little feedback, because you can't talk about it over in Wildstar Central, but we're gonna talk about it here. Most people, Carbine, listen to us, please. Most people did not mind having a subscription model of some sort. Some people said they wouldn't mind a more expensive one. There were various reasons, everything from supporting the company if they did such an amazing job at launch to keep everybody on so they all didn't get, let go once the game come out, which seems to be the MO. Or some even said that they'd like to buy the game and then have a low subscription model. But in general, most people were like, you know what? We don't want to do a free-to-play. We don't mind cash shops. We don't mind skins. We don't mind these sort of things. Most people said they did mind having a subscription. So, I'm getting some interesting... It's right here, Beetle. Right here. Here. So, gonna look over here in the chat. Yeah, it's looking like most people are saying the same thing. Subscription.
I like Cash
You
Shop.
guys,
I like the Cash
we all know
Shop
where
as long
Nix's
as
stands, but
I like the Cash Shop as long as you keep out like the gem store like Guild Wars 2 did. I think the gems just caused the whole another issue.
Man.
see, we're seeing a lot of this, and I'm gonna throw out the name Tainted 707. Buy plus normal sub, no cash shop. It seems like a lot of us would like that, but from a dollar bill want to make money standpoint, I could guarantee a hybrid that I would like to see personally. I'd like to see a buy plus a small sub with a cash shop. There were a lot of concerns from the roleplay community about especially housing. That was one that they were like, listen, like, we don't want the coolest thing you can get in your house to be something you have to pay for. That kind of sucks. And me, again, my opinion is, well, if I want the coolest looking skin, I don't mind paying for it. But it seems like a lot of people would rather have buy plus sub or optional sub and optional cash shop. So Carbine, if you're listening, I know Jeremy's the big man and he gets to talk to NCSoft, and you guys got to figure out, we gave you like $50 billion and you got to get this much money back, and we got to we want to pay subs. Whatever. No one's asking you, okay? No one's asking you right now.
That was a large number. That was a very large number.
Okay, so they gave him like $1 million. They were like, hey, bud, here's $1 million. Go make a game. Whatever the number was. They're going to look at the numbers. How many people are interested, this sort of thing. So there are people like me, Beetle, Nixus, others here in chat who are okay with subbing. Don't be afraid to put a subscription, to make us pay for the game and put a subscription on there, because everyone else likes to have that cash shop. I'm going to say casual. Someone's going to shoot me in my email later. That casual option where it's like, oh, we want to give you skins. Here, everybody's going to have the same skin for their sword, and we're going to make this huge amount of money, but no one's going to continue to play after the first 3 months. We're not afraid of subscription. All right, I'm done talking for now. Beetle, go ahead, hit us with it.
Yeah, I was just gonna bring up the roleplay community before. I'd just like to get their thoughts out there a lot, but the whole house thing and not being able to make it was a big thing. I think it might have been from Wildstar Roleplay Ender. I think she said that if there was cosmetic items in the cash shop, they wouldn't really care about that. It wouldn't be that big of a deal to them, but a deal breaker, like you said, would be something as big as the housing system and having to buy cosmetic items for that. They'd be like, hey, that's not cool. But I think we're still kind of talking about subs and stuff and the payment model. If it's going to be pay and then sub, I think we'll see them do kind of like the Guild Wars 2 thing, and it'll be all digital distribution except for the collector's edition. It'll be their only box. But that was just a quick little thought. Nixus has a real quick thing on cash shops. He says he won't rant. I doubt it.
Lies.
Yeah, I'll try to keep it down because y'all know how I feel about the whole cash shop thing. Japanaman 000 asked, the subscription is not a big deal, and he also made a comment about if there's a cash shop, it's fine as long as it's just cosmetic. My question is, where do you draw the line with cosmetic? Are we talking like if you have a costume that actually affects what your rating armor looks like? Are we okay with that? Because I'm not. I want the look of my gear to reflect what we progress. And I said that in the last show, and it's like, then it comes down to what are we going to put in the cash shop in that case? Is it going to be the fluffy bunny ears that you just wear as a costume in town? Like your separate set? Do we leave it at that? Or if we do have other things in the cash shop like XP buffs or whatever it may be, somebody in the town hall today said, even a 5% XP buff that you give to someone who you make it available for those who can't play on a regular basis. Well, guess what? We can't limit it just to those people. So those who are available 15 hours a day are gonna, again, abuse that. They're gonna take it, and 5% might not sound like much, but as was said in the town hall, it adds up over 80, 100, 200 levels, whatever it's gonna be. So, that 5% XP or, XP boost or even 15% movement speed boost that you can buy in the cash shop, you're getting from one place to another faster, you're getting stuff done faster, and in my opinion, you're basically skimming it down to having almost nothing in the cash shop. So, might as well just not have one. That's just frankly how I see it.
Fine. I don't care. Alright, so Nixus didn't rant. It was kind of a mini rant. You what, blank?
I do want to mention, and I know I probably won't get my wish with this, but as part of the building of hype, I hope that they don't drop one of those early buy into beta,
Oh, that'll happen.
Well, I'm hoping it's not very early on. I'm hoping it's later.
It'll probably
in the
be
future,
an open beta thing
because
if they do it.
Is that really solid numbers? Because I just don't want to see that be, like, if it's like they're looking at their timeline and they're like, oh, we're like however many months out. And they're like, we're going to open up pre-orders for our game. And now everybody gets in, everyone buys it, and then they just disappear. Like, I'd rather see it be a much more narrow window where it's like, oh, we're going to have a beta weekend, a hype beta weekend, get a bunch of people in, and they're going to be like, oh, you want to do that for one or two of them? And they're like, oh, game is going to be coming out here relatively soon. You can pre-order now and be messing around and, I don't know, something dumb like maybe reserve your name or something ridiculous.
Or
who knows?
Or you you do it really close and you make it like, a much longer, early access for pre-purchasers, name reservations, etc.
Yep.
Yeah, like a week or but they could do it if they did a pre-purchase, get a beta thing. It'd probably only be a couple weeks to a month because you don't want to pre-purchasers, yes, they're all going to like the game. Some of them may not. You don't want them to get into the beta so early that people are going to come out screaming, this game wasn't finished, this game's not done. So they'll push it to a beta point where it's like, oh, yeah, this game's ready to go. This is cool. And beta weekends, the only reason I hate beta weekends is because girlfriend aggro gets real bad on those when you have to say, like, no, not doing anything the entire weekend. Hot Pockets now. And, yeah, it's not a good thing. I don't like beta weekends. The whole Guild Wars 2 one brought me a lot of issues.
Listen, I still have the saved ones where I started streaming at Friday at noon Eastern, and it stayed on till like Sunday at 6 p.m., and I only took like a 4-hour nap that whole time. And at like some point, it's just like, you're like, is the light on? Is he still there? Yep, he's still moving around. It was crazy. So beta weekends are definitely super stressful, but yes, right there. Exactly what Fate just said. Unless your girlfriend plays too, we all can't be that.
Yeah, we're all that lucky.
We could do a whole show on that. I could sit here. My girlfriend would, like, if you gave her like an FPS or an MMO, she'd sit down, and I think she would instantly put her hand on the arrows and the mouse. Like, she doesn't know about WASD at all, and that's like a whole thing. Like, she loves. I don't even know why I'm going into this. She's probably gonna kill me. But she loves like playing like Super Mario Bros. On the Wii, like that shit, or like Mario Party, stuff that's pretty easy to pick up and it's still fun for people that aren't really gamers. And then she kills it in Words with Friends on her phone. She's all about that. I played her like 3 times and I quit because she does this shit where she'll have, if you guys play Words with Friends, she has like her letters and she'll just keep putting random ass things in and clicking submit, and she'll like come back with a word like washnum and be like, oh yeah, I know what that word was. That's an easy word. Just like, God, I can't play with her. No, she's not a gamer. And it's unfortunate. Shout out to all you gaming couples. You guys got it. Awesome.
Do you see all of them? It's like my husband, my kid, me. The family raised together, stays together. It's all these. This is bullcrap. My girlfriend's like, she plays little Dance Dance Revolution, whatever games those are, and then she thinks she's a badass because she beats me at it. And I'm like, really? Like that? I can't do this. I'm sorry. I'm critically Caucasian.
Can't dance. That's news.
Dancing does not happen unless there's several of these. So, but no, I don't think I've had a female girlfriend partner who's played. I think I had one, and she only fished. That's all she did. She did fishing for me. So like when I would go to work, she would fish for me.
Yeah,
well, come on now.
Doesn't count.
It was perfect. I come back, my bags would be full. Auction house would be it was amazing.
Now that we're so off topic and we're talking about DDR, I did karaoke. I did karaoke last weekend. I had a couple cocktails. I sang Tenacious D tribute. It was, if anybody knows Tenacious D, it was boss. Anyway, let's talk about Wildstar. Nope. Keel Bossing.
We're going
on
down
to IRC tidbits.
Yes.
I believe. All right.
Yes.
So, there's a sweet dude out there. Kathy's in chat. Got us some IRC tidbits when we're not able to be around all the time, and we poke through them and stuff. Big shout out. You're awesome. So we're going to go through a couple. We've got a big quote from J-Tall here. I think Aegon can throw it up on screen. And I'm not going to read the whole thing, but you guys can. Oh, man, look at that graphic. And it's talking about having basically challenges within items. So we've seen this in the past, and it's a cool thing, and I think it adds something to a weapon. Like, if you pick up a weapon and you're looking at these stats and they're almost equivalent, but one's got, like, go kill 10 monsters, that's awesome. Like, that's something I want to do personally. What do you guys think in chat? Do you guys like having little challenges within weapons, stuff like that? Stop laughing.
You guys just got a link, by the way, in chat. You're not going to be able to see that because it was a PM conversation. So, I guess Chicken must be tired too.
GG,
Can I make a
Dallas.
comment on this weapon progression?
I would love for you to make a quick comment.
Wonderful. So I think it'd actually add a really cool concept because essentially what we're saying here is you get a weapon and you'd have the basic stats and you'd have to accomplish certain tasks to, unlock the additional stats that are available on it. And you could get really creative with that. You could actually have it, rather than just be kill X mob, like get X accomplishment, or like achievement. So, I mean, get as creative as you want with it, but that's definitely something that I think they should consider and play around with, because you can elaborate as much as you want on that. What's going on here?
I'm coughing again. God damn. We're good. Don't even worry about it. We're gonna keep moving through some of the other stuff here we got. I'm gonna skip that one. All stats are chipped into items. So all the stats that you see presently on a sword, stuff like that, will be in the form of chips, depending on the number of them. And Gortek, this is one from Gortek, and he also said chips are going to have rarities. We don't know how it's going to be shown, if it's going to be colored within there too, but I don't know, that's awesome. You get some sword that has this rare chip in it. It's like, oh snap, we're keeping this one. Who needs this in the guild? I found it. I found the fish cannon chip. Sorry, guys. Gortek says legendaries are planned. We don't know if it's into the extent of Guild Wars 2, but he did use the word legendaries. He said something about them being orange color or red color. That's something that'll be down the line. I mean, colors, stuff.
What I want to say about legendaries, legendaries is please make them legendary, but do not make them just a grind. Grinding for something is not legendary. I'm sorry, Guild Wars 2, but your concept of what legendary is terrible and sucky. Anything that you just grind into by yourself, I don't care, is sucky. I like legendary items that have a 0.001% chance to drop off a hard mode. I like things that take a bunch of people together. I don't care if it's the whole flippin' server to do something. That is legendary. Don't give me some crap that just has a color and has some cool stats and call it legendary. There's a reason there's that name on it, and I don't want it to be diminished in another game. Sorry about ranting towards Guild Wars 2, but it broke my heart, and it's just been like, nah, dude, make it I want to see that thing and be like, dude, that over there is a rogue with the Wind Fury. That's gonna hurt, and that's awesome. I want them to mean something. So, done ranting. Go ahead, Beetle.
Well, I mean, if Guild Wars 2 broke your heart, shouldn't your shirt say single? All right. So, and with legendaries, yeah, the 0.001 drop chance, that's a good idea. I remember Guild Wars 1, I farmed the Christmas event chest for that, if anybody played Guild Wars 1, that Jingle Polar Bear mini that had just a terrible drop chance. There's only 4 in the game. Yeah, I tried going for that, like a dum-dum. All right, so those were the majority of the tidbits from our IRC stuff. Keth, sorry I didn't have enough time to go through all of them. I know there were more. I really appreciate it, though, sending those to us. Blank, you want to take it from there on the IRC thing, and I'll start talking.
The only thing that I had was you can jump there in just a second. I'm going to try to explain what I was explaining earlier. Bear with me. I'm going to simplify this. I actually wrote it to simplify this the best that I can. During the town hall, I had a huge concern about the circuit crafting system. I was upset because I was I thought that I understood how the tier drops worked. Teardrops. I just said teardrops. Just cut me off now.
What?
In a dungeon or in a raid that is a specific tier, when an item drops, it has a certain amount of power in the amp that it gets dropped with. Do you have your ability chips, you have your stat chips, and certain ones get locked in certain places. There was a big deal about the amps. What gives you the power and powers the abilities that are locked in. I was under the understanding that those were part of the locked in random. Am I too high here? No, good. So I was concerned that you were going to have to go into a raid and farm a boss because that power amp, which powers everything else, could be locked and or random. That is not the case. And upon clarification, now we found out that you're going to be able to take, say, a green level amp and replace it with a blue level amp, which will increase the item overall. So I'm sorry if that goes over too many people's heads, but it was a big, big deal because, one, the perspective that I had before was that you're going to have to farm a boss over and over because that the base stat of how much you're going to get from an item could be locked or random, and that is not the case. That's a big. I just want to make sure everybody understands that. You're going to be able to upgrade it, but those will not be locked or random. So that's all it for that. And the only other thing that I wanted to mention was that Milestone system is still under flux. This came from How to Make a Level 50 Item by Gortek. Right now, that's kind of like their talent tree system when we're discussing systems. In the current iteration, there's something valuable in each milestone, but probably not for every spec. For example, if you're a tank, Insight and Grit will probably improve your tanking a lot more than your DPS. What that says to me, or why that's important, or why I wanted to make sure to mention that on this show, is this is their integral talent tree system. You know, it'll be interesting to see as they release patch notes, because it seems to be what they do now for their beta stuff, on if somebody goes a different route and makes it viable. You know, if you're a tank, you're supposed to have these two stats, but it's still in flux. What if there's a tank who finds a way to, you know, use some other attribute and is actually able to do the same thing? So that's something I definitely want to make sure to continue watching in the future, because once they lock that in, it'll say a lot of where they're at for combat and where they're at for progression. So that was the last mention there. Do you guys have anything about the milestones, iterations, about it being a flux, anything like that? Are you guys good to go?
Good.
I've got a little thing about it being under flux. It's the milestone system, to me, like, we haven't heard very much about it at all. And I feel like it is the besides flying dragon mounts, or flying mounts in general at Carbine, I feel like the milestone system is probably one of the biggest topics of discussion in-house right now, because it's going to go over – it's going to be one of the cooler things about it, you know? It's going to be awesome, so they want it – or they want it to be awesome, I guess should be the thing. And I feel like it's gonna just go through so many iterations, and hopefully by the time that it gets to like a Wildstar Wednesdays, it'd be just perfect, and everybody's gonna say, "Wow, milestones are really, really cool." All right, do we want to go to the chicken talk, as he aptly named it?
Yes. Yeah.
All right. Next, I'll give you a couple. Just let him. I'll start. Don't worry, hon. All right. So, questions. Question and answer area. Zergulicious. What kinds, if any, guild perks would you guys like to see? I.e., how guilds leveled in WoW or something similar. I'd love to see. There'd be certain things I like to see that I liked from Guild Wars 2 was guild cosmetics, capes, banners, armors, mounts would be awesome. You know, like a guild horse with tabard over it that has the guild logo, stuff like that. I think being able to show is a cool thing. I like being able to give guilds buffs, but I feel like it puts smaller guilds at disadvantage. I don't know what you guys think. But I think cosmetic stuff for guilds is a cool thing. Anybody else got anything? Be sure to do the thing when you do the thing. No? Blank, go ahead.
It's a very interesting system to balance. Cosmetic stuff is nice. It seems like when it comes to cash shops or anything that gives boost to people, we're always very wary about it. I like seeing guild perks though that could help, maybe not give you any sort of like real big advantage, but that are weighted that you have to pick. Maybe I did like some of the ones from Guild Wars 2. I did like, and even in World of Warcraft, there were some that were interesting. It just depends on how they're going to balance it, because, you know, if they decide, okay, we're going to give you increased XP, we're going to allow your crafters to craft faster or have less cooldown or something like that. You know, it's one of those interesting things. So within the game, I want to walk the line between cool stuff that you get for being in a guild, because I want guilds to be incentivized. I actually brought that up during the town hall, but I don't want it to be like overly. I don't want it to be overly aggressive. Like, if you're not in a guild, you're going to miss out on 10% additional points in battlegrounds or something like that, you know? So people are making little 5-person guilds just to get the extra stuff. I don't know. Nixus, how about you, man? What do you think about this?
Just to go back on what Beetle was concerned about, the number of people you have in your guild, that affecting like the unlocks that you can have as guild perks, rather than having it be a guild XP system where you need to earn it through grinding X things, blah blah blah. Just have it be an achievement system. You know, if you've got 10 people in your guild or 40 and you down a certain boss or whatever, like that's how you get the unlocks, rather than it just being, you know, have whatever the XP would be based on, essentially. So it wouldn't be limited just to, you know, the bigger guilds. If you had a guild that was just a strictly hardcore 40 main group, they could get just as much as like a guild that has 200.
Yeah, that's one way to handle it. Of course, it's just, I don't know. The guild system with Guild Wars 2, like, influence was kind of cool as a guild currency standpoint. But yeah, I'm actually really interested when they do their big release with guild features and architecture and stuff like that. I'm really pumped for that. But before we go to the next question, we totally forgot, and if Aegon could bring this up, we forgot to just go hashtag speculate on the screenshot of these two Makari and this young man. That's not the right screenshot. Hang on.
Fired.
The rifle one.
It's a
not
slideshow, boy.
All right, got it. Hey, I'm like 4 seconds behind on my stream. All right, so you got the guy with a sniper rifle, or a rifle, you guess you call it. Now, we could speculate on this guy. Is he an NPC? I'm assuming he's a guy playing the game. But people have been speculating about a rifle class, stuff like that. But I think most of the speculation for the rifle class that was coming up was more along the lines like of a big rifle or something more of a scattergun type deal. This is very interesting for me to see speculate on a ranged DPS sniping cool thing. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I'll speculate for you.
You'll speculate. I know you will.
It's yeah. Here I go. It's gonna be a gun-wielding class that is completely melee. They just beat you with it.
Oh.
That's a unique take on it.
Interesting.
Just pistol whip everybody.
Or rifle butt, if you
There
will.
you go.
Oh, wow.
The only fight with a rifle butt and a bayonet
Never been
and a
done
bayonet.
before. Only here at Wildstar.
Yeah, it could tie into the lore with the exiles not being able to afford bullets. Oh, slam.
I think it's definitely going to be some sort of ranged. I don't know. It doesn't fit into anything. Like, we've talked about where the stats are, and we talked about. I think there's episode maybe 0 or 1 about possible speculation in the future, and with the stats and the possible class relations that are left, I'm really confused because this doesn't fit into one. So I'm not 100% sold on this. May be something of significance. It may be Just a screenshot of a dude with a sniper rifle who's just out fishing, you
a
know?
ranged DPS tank like Bounty Hunter in Star Wars.
Yeah, Baron's just
alright.
mentioned that in chat. What would that be based on, though? Would it be based on the ranged tank kiting the boss around or locking them in place?
Well, if it is a ranged tank, he is clearly wearing some sort of light armor. That's cloth. That's a afternoon coat.
Oh, dude, this chat is so funny. Shooting them in the face is gonna get some aggro.
Look, he's a Cassian.
And this could be a cash shot cosmetic.
Look, he's a Cassian. If you're gonna shoot somebody, you gotta do it looking good.
Yeah,
Very rich.
True.
Well said.
I mean, wiser words. All right, that's probably enough really good speculation for now. We can probably get back into the questions here and show our mugs again because I'm holding a rifle now. Yeah, next question comes from Tainted 707. Do you think they'll take a card from Blizzard's book and have arena seasons / rewards for doing well in arenas and endgame PvP? I believe they will. Short answer, I believe they will. Blank, yes. Type louder next time.
I hope and pray, and I don't want to say guarantee, but arena seasons is just part of PvP progression. Just like they'll have a season or whatever they want to call it to end for your war plots. Battlegrounds always have just been kind of open. They may do the same thing if they do some sort of a ranking system for it too. You know, like, hey, you're going to have ranked Battlegrounds or something. So I definitely see there being season cards. And I'm sure, now that you guys know what Beetle's all about, if we can actually drag him into an arena and you know, get him up there, he's going to want a flying dragon. So if you guys hear that, just get it now. YOLO swag dragon with some like lasers and stuff, you know, for being top arena. We'll get that for Beetle as soon as possible.
I would sit in town all day asking people if they can see my dragon. Hey man, see this dragon I'm sitting on? Hey, whispering to people, hey man, you see this? Yeah, lasers.
Yeah, that's it. Well, Catherine's mentioning it right now. Mounts are a big deal. They're really, really cool. I had a Spectral Tiger, which was my big cool thing. I'm trying to think of the flying ones. They didn't have any that were like super duper cool. I had one of the first ones from 3 Drakes before it was a big deal. But I do feel that having a cosmetic reward like that maybe even gave you a little bit more speed. I think that's how it was in WoW. Like they were like a couple % faster. We're really, really cool. So, for sure.
Cool mounts are
like
overrated. Overrated.
What?
No.
You just need to go fishing, get your turtle mount. You don't need to fly anywhere. Just 50% walk to your raids. That's what you do.
Yeah. How is that overrated? A turtle mount is badass. Just think about the turtle mount. If there was a turtle in Wildstar, it'd probably be badass. It'd probably be like this awesome snapping turtle with like a saddle.
It doesn't need wings. It doesn't need to fart out windows.
Nikes.
It can just be a turtle.
Probably has Nike Air shoes on or something. What?
I'm sorry, I'm reading shit in chat. Ogre rated. Everyone's saying it as ogre rated, not overrated tonight.
Ogre rated.
Man, it's ogre rated, man. That's just ogre rated. Nixus, if you want to take a couple of questions, I'll let you go ahead and mime them out.
Alrighty. Let's see here. Onrez asks, was there anything in the format of the town hall that the team would set up differently? Mike, you want to begin?
Yeah, oh, sure, absolutely. Anything in the format of the town hall that I would do differently? We, in the future, are going to make sure that there is more time to prepare, to get people to know about what's going on. The structure of these ones were to just kind of collect if you've been watching on Twitter, I'd asked, actually, before we even announced it, anyone that was active to tweet or retweet. That was to gauge a response to how many people were like active on Twitter, just in general. So then we knew that, hey, people might be interested. So in the future, again, we'll make sure that there's like, hey, we're going to do this 2 weeks, 3 weeks from now. And yeah, that's the only one for me. The format was great. I do want a huge thank you to the moderators. It was Nixus and Buxy and Pseudonym for the NA one, and then it was Nixus and Pseudonym for the EU one. Big, huge. Nobody wants to thank Nixus. It's his job. Don't worry about it. It's what we pay him for. But to Pseudonym, huge thank you. It was amazing to see other people that were just like, hey, we want to come moderate, even if that means we don't get to say anything. We just get to tell people when it's their turn to talk. Like, it was really great. So big thank you for the moderators who showed up. How about you? What do I see? Beetle. Go ahead, Beetle. What were you going to say?
Yeah, with this being the first town hall for this, and I was really kind of MIA with dying, but it's I actually adminned a couple of the Guild Wars 2 ones in the past. It was more guild oriented, so you just had a ton of guilds and the TeamSpeak all talking about. I think it was more specific towards PvP in the World v World and Guild Wars 2, but I think in the future I would like, with my experience with that, to help out Nixus with it a little more. I knew we kind of threw him into the fire as a mod, and a couple of the other people, so I wish I could have personally helped out a little more. I was only able to be on the Twitch chat and just kind of hang out with people, but yeah. Aegon, go ahead.
I think the changes will probably make probably earlier in the week so they don't clash with what we're doing tonight, because it exhausted our people. Probably, definitely, we need a lot more notice. I think if we had more notice, we probably would have had an even bigger turnout, which would have been great. But we had a great turnout for what we did have. Probably, I know people, I've been asked by a couple people about moderating, so, may end up with new moderators, different, we'll see how it goes. But my real thing is just getting it earlier in the week, maybe spacing them out even more so they're not on top of each other, and crushing the people that have to mod these things.
Yeah.
As for things that we could swap up for next time, I'd say I hated having to cut people off in the middle of their conversations, especially when they had really good ideas. I felt like I was that guy and it sucked. But, oh, stop. But maybe make it a little bit more clear that we're going to limit it to like 30, 45 minutes per topic, and make people understand that better at the beginning so they can kind of like wrap things up themselves before I have to be, like, all right, stop. And then definitely give people, more than 6 days to get ready to attend. That way we can try to reach as many people as we can, because there were some really good things that were said. And, I mean, just, the more the merrier, so let's get in there. Alrighty, I guess we're moving on to the next question. Alrighty, so next question here. Onres again. What, if anything, has the group sent in for the Wildstar uplink for this week? What was the Wildstar uplink this week? It was about the concern in the economy?
Yeah.
So, what?
We didn't send anything in, honestly.
Nixus,
to be honest,
you're supposed to be better at the questions.
Dude, Nixus, you are bad at this. We let this guy out of the corner. We're like, all right, bro, you can do this. It's good. He did a great job doing the moderating deal, and now we're just like, God, I'm gonna throw you back in that corner, son.
Well, I actually sent in them taking extra measures to curb the outside RTM market to keep the inflation down.
Yeah.
That was my little tidbit into this week's uplink.
It was about economy stuff, and I was too busy. This is why people send me wonderful emails at Wildstar Central. I was too fucking busy with town hall shit and fielding stuff for that I didn't even get a chance to really look at it. So I'm gonna have to be like, Onrez, hey, what was that shit about? I got no idea, to get to some feedback later, because I totally missed it all. So, Beetle, did you toss anything into it or no?
Oh yeah, like 7 things. All right, next question. I haven't put anything. You know me and economy and stuff. That's more Onrez. That's more blank. That's for you math guys, man. I can just draw. There's no math in that. Pharynx. Ooh, I probably butchered this name. Pharynx 007. How do you think leveling your class versus leveling your paths is going to work? Do you have to do them simultaneously, or do you think you can rush to Elder Game with your class, then work on your path content afterwards? The latter part of that, going to Elder Game with your class, then work on the path afterwards, I think you should be able to do that. There shouldn't be something saying like, hey, you can't go any further until you finish your path. Path is for something for people to, have fun with if they want to do it. If you don't feel like doing your path, I don't feel that you should be forced to do it. Blank, what do you think?
I gotta say Blue Steel 504 because they asked to say the name. Okay. They had mentioned that the way the path is set up, it should happen because it's part of how you like to play. So it's not about, do you have to do them simultaneously? If you're playing the way that you like to play, it should happen naturally. If you're, doing your settler deal, you enjoy that. That's part of what you enjoy about the game. So it's not like, oh, I'm going to skip this. I enjoy doing this, so I'm going to be doing it as I go along, and it's going to give, a satisfaction to me and when it comes to settlers, to others around you. For soldiers, I'm pretty sure it's just going to be like, oh, you happen to be doing, some sort of quest. Oh, by the way, why don't you kill a bunch more people while you're here? Why don't you assassinate, Princess Twinkletoes up on the hill? Whatever it may be. It will be part of your playstyle anyways. I know that you could probably go back and work on it afterwards, but it seems kind of counterintuitive to me. Like, if you're picking one that you actually enjoy, more than likely you're going to be doing it as you go. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Mime didn't key in, so I don't think he has anything to say.
I think he's brain dead. I think he's about to pass out, guys.
Yeah, it's probably about 16 hours in. Are 16 hours in yet?
Part of this question was, could you rush to Elder Game with your class, then work on your path content afterwards? I think if you're trying to rush to Elder Game, you're going to pick the one that has to do with grinding, probably over the one that has to do with you, wandering off and getting lost in the world, because that doesn't sound like it would be extremely productive when it comes to, rushing to end game, but I don't know.
Yeah, you're saying it could benefit you. Yeah, you're saying that it could benefit you leveling to Elder Game to do some of your path stuff. Okay. Yeah. Blue Steel 504. Any word on servers, etc.? One super server or East Coast, etc.? I don't think it's going to be a super server. I think they'll have East West. I don't know if they'll have any more than that for NA. I don't know. They'll be, let's say, I'm thinking 2 or 3 based West, 2 or 3 based East, 2 or 3 for Europe. I don't know server stuff. They're ogre rated. Anyway, anybody else? Blank, what do you think? Super server?
I doubt it'll be super server. I'm going to say, man, got to think back here to other logistics. Australia never gets one. Sorry.
Super servers. Isn't only Eve that has one? Isn't only Eve that has one super server or whatever the kind of thing? Like, what other games have actually done? A single stuff.
Well, how many did Guild Wars have? Didn't they have like 2 big servers? That was it. I mean,
no,
there was
they were
EU
talking in
and
terms
NA.
of shards. Oh yeah.
Okay, no.
Yeah, if you're talking, we're confused. All right, here we go.
Servers. When they talk about servers, you look at, okay, they have different smaller servers, but I'm talking about the big ones. When you look at their, I was talking about, their communication centers. So Blizzard has Texas and California, and then they've got a couple other like bigger places. Are you talking about, and I guess maybe Blue could put something in chat here. Are you talking about their communication centers, or are you talking about server locations? Because if we're talking about specific server locations, like this is a server you log into, and it just happens to be on the East Coast time, that's a little different than their big communication hubs. Because when it comes to those, they're probably only going to have 2. One's going to be North America, one's going to be Europe. And that's just for latency issues. That's normally the way that it is.
I think he's talking about server hubs.
Server locations.
Data center hubs, basically, I think is what he's talking about.
Okay, server locations for lower latency. Yeah, more than likely there's going to be 2. A lot of game developers won't, they're not even sending people down for Australia or SEA for their convention stuff, so I don't see them putting a server there. Europe will definitely see a big cluster, and North America, depending on how many people they get, they may actually have 2, but it's weird because a lot of, from what I understand, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong, they won't put a server on the East Coast. Normally they put it someplace in like the Midwest or like Texas or something like that. From what I remember, they or Central. It's always Central time base. It's never
Chicago
all the way in. Yeah, it's never East Coast. So potential 2 big centers in NA and 1 in Europe, but they're being then broken down into the actual servers. Kat just said, Chicago, Texas, things like that. What was I going to say here? Yeah. Next one. Go ahead.
Yeah, servers. Yeah, that's stuff. This one's pretty general. Stompsville, LOL. What do you guys think about the housing stuff? Housing stuff is cool.
It's cool.
It's tight. Housing. I like housing.
I also like housing, Beetle.
I love lamb. I don't know.
Aegon's got something. Go ahead, Aegon. What are you going to say about housing?
Well, I mean, in terms of what you can do with housing in this game, I mean, it's probably the closest to the kind of freedom you had in in Star Wars Galaxies. I mean, the things you can build on your plots, the things you can add, the things you can do. A lot of freedom involved with it, which I really like. I mean, we haven't really seen that kind of freedom, since games like Star Wars Galaxies. Go ahead, Blank. Beetle, actually.
Did you just raise my name?
Yeah. What the fuck?
You son of a bitch.
Go, Beetle Blank.
Oh, God.
What I was going to say about housing... Oh, God.
My stream is freaking out.
What I want to say about housing is I like it being a integral part of a game. It's really, really interesting that they're going to allow you to have, crafting stations and all these sort of things on your housing plot. I think that's really cool. And being able to see where that goes, like, I'm going to be the person who has to hire an interior decorator. Because I'm just going to be the guy that throws crap in there, and then somebody like Nixus will come by and be like, "What is this? This is terrible!"
Oh, no.
But I love that it has some cool things that come with it. It's not just a house, and I guess it's not as minimized as Lotro was, where you could just throw a couple things in there. There's much, much more to it. So it's not just the same crap being re-vomited to us. There's extra layers to it that make it much more cooler. So, Beetle, now that you've erased my name, you son of a bitch, what do you got to say?
God. For people who don't know, why I look at my screen is we work in a Google Doc, and Blank's claiming I erased his name. I think I lagged like super hard, and everything was just like, but the thing I like most about housing, if that's what we're going to get specific on, I like the plug system. Plugs is a cool way to break down into, restricted areas of like, hey, you can put these certain things here. What do you think is going to be the coolest thing? It's the plug system from like a design standpoint is really cool to me. And yeah, I think we're going to move on to the next one. Onrez asks, so the big question is, can we crit? Who wrote this? Onrez? Can we crit create by crafting chips? Question mark.
I think what he means is like there's a chance for you to craft something better than what you thought you were gonna craft.
Can you crit while crafting chips?
Crafting, dude.
Hang on,
There's two things.
I'm gonna break this down.
There's two. Crit crafting is one of two ways. It reminds me of a funny song by John LaJoy, which I'm not going to get into. Crafting chips, crit. You either get a better item that's random, or you get more of that item. So can we crit create? I don't know, but those would be the two potentials for if we could. Go ahead, Beetle.
I don't know. I still don't understand the question.
Well, we really.
If we're just talking about crafting things and being able to crit, yeah, having a chance at having a critical success while crafting, I think it'd be cool. If it's specific to crafting chips, I don't know. I don't know what crafting chips is. I mean, if you're just talking about the CRC and you place a chip in, maybe when you place a chip in the blueprints or whatever, a certain combination gives you a critical success or a critical make within the circuit board. You place these three things. It's like, oh, that's the right combination. Critical success, and +2 on 2 of your chips or something like that. Like that'd be cool.
Looking like they're talking about potential. Like I said, the better. So crafting critical equals a higher quality. So if you were aiming to craft, right, well, because I also said more too. You could critically craft, and then instead of getting 1, you got 3. But then what a lot of people in chat are mentioning is if you're critical crafting, that you were trying to make a green item, and now it's a blue item.
Or you craft something so good the person next to you dies.
What if you're like trying to see? Next, I don't even know about that. What if you're crafting like these certain green items and you need like this stat, and all of a sudden it's the last of your mats and you crit a blue? Yeah, it's cool. I got a blue, but I really wanted another one of these, just so I could do a certain thing. I don't know. I think my idea was cooler.
I don't like going to critically craft something if they're going to put that in place and it changing what it is, because it sounds cool, but it's just way too RNG for me. And if I'm crafting something, I want to have the mats for it. Critically crafting for me should be additional, portions of it. Oh, I crit. I was able to manipulate my materials better, and I got 2 of them. Cool. I don't like, now magically I refined all this crap, and now it's better than it was supposed to be. I'm not a huge fan, so.
All right. So now that we got away from saying critical craft chips.
Just read what Gray said. I love it.
All right. Now, while Gray's talking in chat, we actually have come to his question. Gray asks, what are your thoughts on fluff systems like Lotro's music system? Who cares? ? Necessary? Yes, please. I love them. My thing with certain fluff systems is there's certain ones that I can find practical uses for in game. If anybody played APB, their little music system that was a little 8-bit thing or whatever after you killed somebody, I mean, if I had time, yes, I'd make one. I don't see it as a necessity, but when you call it fluff, I call it content, and I believe a lot of the role players actually, correct me if I'm wrong, role players enjoy a lot of the fluff, and it just adds more character to the game. Like a music system in Wildstar, if there's a guy who, let's just say Keth is role playing, and all he does is just create love ballads, and is basically Wildstar's version of Seal, I mean, that's something you could do. Anybody else on fluff?
You guys have heard this from me before. I'm being a little silly right now. I apologize. I am not the type of gamer that really gets immersed into a game. However, if I do, it's because the developers did something right. The composers did something right. I can't have these on and try to be serious. So if they do a good job, I'm all about it. If they're there and they do a shitty job, it just takes away, detracts from me. It's like I just put all the music to the side, and the only thing I want to hear are the sounds in arena, so that I can know when someone's popped a cooldown or something like that. But it seems, I mean, look at Jeff Kurtenacker, how the hell you say his name. The composing he's doing
close.
is just out of this world. It's amazing. I feel like it's the kind of game where I'm not going to turn the music slider all the way off because they're doing such a quality job. I'm going to be like, oh shit, this is actually kind of cool, you know? Or all of a sudden you go into a dungeon and all of a sudden the music changes. Normally I'm like, who cares? This is terrible. So when it comes to Wildstar, do a quality job, make a guy like me who normally doesn't give a crap, who doesn't read quests, all of a sudden stop and go, whoa, what is going on? This is kind of cool. Necessary? Not really. But adds to immersion factor, especially for the role players? Absolutely. So do a quality job. That's what I got to say. Go.
Right.
Next.
All right, next. Looks like Nixus is out of batteries.
What's that?
Nothing. Orin Healer asks, how much exploring do you think the Explorer path will have? Will it be randomized or what? I mean, won't it feel cheap if everyone else is discovering the same secrets? If there are secrets, I think they'll be, specified to the Explorer. How much exploring are you going to do with the Explorer path? Probably a lot. It's called the Explorer. And we kind of talked about this with the paths before. I believe, they'll have their uses to open doors up for a soldier who's going to do a holdout down there. Stuff like that. Anybody, are we just done doing a thing? Or
it's the same thing as movies. It's like, if you want to ruin it for yourself because other people have seen it and ask them what it's like, it's not going to be secret. But it's really up to you to just not pay attention to what other people ahead of you are talking about. I mean, you're going to run into. As time goes on, more people are going to know what it is, and chances are you're going to get exposed to what the different things that you can explore are, just through trade chat and stuff. But it comes down to just how you go about it, I guess.
All right.
I feel that explorers, as part of your path and getting your path XP and stuff, I'm sure that from what I'm trying to kind of visualize what this is going to be like. I can just see it being like, you need to go up a level in being an explorer, and that means you have to explore this many places. But I don't think it's going to be like, yo, dude, there's like this place and this place and this place. I feel like it's going to be a little different. It's going to be like, go explore, and when you finally find something, you will get your path XP. Whereas I feel like for a settler, it's going to be, listen, you have to help build a town, and there's not going to be, it's not going to be kind of free range. You're going to have to go and build part of a town. So I don't feel that that's going to be as randomized as it could possibly be for an explorer, where it's like, all right, dog, you need to explore 3 points. You don't get any XP till you find these things out there. So that's what I got to say.
Right.
Get.
And with Blank doing his little arm gestures, I'm going to make the executive decision and cut us a little short here on our questions. We have quite a few left, and all of us are being a little silly. We are going to drop down to what Chicken Juice calls his random questions area. These are usually a little more fun questions. They allow us to you know, get the funny stuff. I don't even know what I'm saying. But, yeah, so we're going to skip down to our... Fuck. Our little title, SVG... God. You gonna make it?
No, good, bro. Do it up. Do it's good.
Alright. How many times will SVG is True Vanguard, gank Arlwolf in the first week of Wildstar launch? Ara, I don't know about the first week.
As many times as we can find you.
Yeah, as many times as you feel like coming out of your town or wherever you're hiding in. We should meet up sometime during the first week, community people from both sides, and just kind of do like a dance-off or something like that. We used to do those in World v. World with a couple of the other guilds we knew in different shards and stuff. We should meet up with the Exile and do like a little dance-off, and I promise we won't have like a group of 30 waiting behind a tree to kill all of you after it's over.
That. Don't promise that.
I look at it like this. In the first week of launch, you're not going to see us except for streams, possibly, because it's going to be nothing but 18 hours of gameplay, pushing as hard as possible to be Elder Game. And then we get to take a little break, and then we're just going to keep smashing into stuff. So unless you plan on keeping a crazy pace in the first week, more than likely we will see most people hanging on for the first 2 days or so, but normally by day 3, most people are like, where the hell did those guys, weren't they just here a little bit ago? No. We'll swing back around.
I mean, there are those of us who have jobs. I mean, 18 hours, I could probably do that. If your 18-hour shifts are pretty good. If your Nixus, it'll be 16, and then he'll fall asleep. Child's play jokes. All right, it's either Goo1 or Gone 85. When
Goonie.
will Goonie, that makes sense actually. When will we be able to raid the castle behind blank? I believe that's his daughter's. How fortified is that war plot?
That's my daughter's slide. She has 3 things now in the house. She's got her red tricycle. She has what she calls her jumpy, which is a huge trampoline, and this is her indoor slide. So getting to raid that is not possible. However, if you're lucky, on a Wednesday when I have her, sometimes I turn the stream on, and she'll get up here and she'll throw Ramus down. So that's about as close as anything gets to being raided around the castle. So, next question.
Next question. Blue Steel 504, so when are you all coming to tour Australia? I'd love to, but funds are a little tight. You could say that. Australia, I heard, is beautiful. What do you guys think? When do you want to go to Australia? Tomorrow?
Why is that? I'll hang out.
I've already been there, so...
After PAX East. Yep. After PAX East, for sure. So, I'm progressively taking my shirt off until my girlfriend comes out here and yells at me, so...
Oh, God. All right, well, with that note, we are going to call it, I believe. Thank you, everybody, for stopping by again. Thanks for dealing with us this show. We're struggling. I know we like to still get on here. We weren't going to call the show just because I'm a little sick and these guys are a little dumb. So we still like to get the news out there and just, hang out with you guys, talk about the news, talk about the happening in this game. Yeah, thanks a lot for hanging out with us, guys. We love all of you.
Don't drop it yet. We still got shout-outs
I'm not
to
drop. Do you think I have control of the drop?
You're waving goodbye.
You're waving goodbye.
I can wave.
I'm the one who talks with my hands,
stop
dog.
this. You can't stop this.
So, we had shout-outs to do. Big, huge shout-outs to everybody who joined the town halls, everyone who helped build the conversation at Wildstar Central and on Twitter. It was awesome. And for those of you who are out there still sending us information that we may miss, whether it's an IRC, Wildstar Central, other forum sites, anything, you know, like we've said it before, we're on Wildstar Central. You can send us PMs. We love, you know, to see any information that we might miss. So huge thank yous. We're going to do social media plugs. Make sure to follow this Twitch channel, and this is where we do Late Night Dominion every week. Follow us on Twitter. It's Beetle Bossy. Nixus is Nixus Ding Dong something or other. Aegon is Aegon Trigger something or other. Mine is Blank Space or something. Make sure to like us on Facebook. And next week we will be well rested. We promise to have a much better show. We are looking into potential special guests from different places. That's what I can say about that. So that's all I gotta say for the outro. So thanks, guys. I'm gonna start taking my shirt off now. So
Alrighty.
Take it easy, folks.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.
See you guys. Thanks again.
Bye.